All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to welcome everyone today to our session. My name is Adam Kurtz, and I will be stepping you through the Insight session today. And we'll be talking about one of the Stratum connectors, specifically the Power BI connector, is what we'll be focusing in on today. So, what is Power BI? If you've never used it, we'll have a brief explanation of what that is. We'll also talk about how to use it with Stratum, how to leverage it with some of the views that you've created or may create for it. And then we'll go in through a demo. And if you have any questions, the chat line is open and you can always contact me as needed. Today, we'll be talking about the Stratum Data Hub, essentially the Power BI connector, which is part of the Data Hub for data access. And as you can see, there's other areas of access for the data coming from Stratum, such as emailing reports or using the web analytics. And as you can see, Stratum provides many different options for getting data out. Power BI is a Microsoft product. It's a data visualization tool. It's pretty easy to use for building reports and charts and whatnot. Um, can be cost effective. I guess it kind of depends on the tier pricing that you select for your enterprise. Provides a nice interface. It's fully customizable. Lots of default options in terms of visualizations and charts and whatnot. Um, Provides pretty simple collaboration by being able to upload those reports into the cloud and allowing other users to access those reports. So many of our customers use Power BI today, and they are using. Some of them are actually using the Power BI connector and building reports from the Stratum data. The Power BI connector will sit within the Power BI desktop. So you can download that. Actually, you can download a free version of that if you want to play around with it. It's something that's available for trial purposes. The Power BI connector would then be, it's an installation. You do need a license for it. So that's something that we can talk about if you're not sure if you're licensed for it. But this is just a small add-in that would get installed into the Power BI desktop. And then you would be able to go ahead and use the connector to connect to Stratum. Once you make the connection, the views then become available within the Stratum interface. And as you can see, you can search for keywords or certain letters that might result in some of the views that you're looking for. You might have a lot of views that within your environment. So there's a nice search bar available. Once you find the view, you select it. As you can see, you get a snapshot or a preview of the data. And then you can go ahead and select that as a data set within your Power BI interface. The view then becomes basically just another data set within your Power BI interface. You can then drag and drop some of the measures, as you can see, actual sales, the different slices of time, year to date this year versus last, dollars, units, all kinds of different options there. And that's all just basically part of the view that's available, that was available within Stratum, that you just imported into the Power BI interface. On the left-hand side is the design area, so you can put together your Stratum, your Power BI report using the different visualizations that the Power BI interface provides. As you can see, it's pretty robust. You've got different types of charts and whatnot that you can choose from. Bar charts, area graphs, heat maps, cards is what they call these areas where you can see the numbers of what the year-to-date amounts are and whatnot. So a lot of different cool options available. And then we also have a drill through button that you can import, and so that we can provide drill through capabilities. So as we all know, these charts and visibility, these visualizations can only provide so much of the story without getting too much into the detail. So the drill through button is a critical piece to allow your users to get to that detail without corrupting or making the charts too busy, which is a good best practice to adhere to. I'll show you how that works, and you can then drill from the chart into further detail and do some drill downs within the Stratum interface. So that's my name, that's my email, and you can contact me as needed if you're not sure about the licensing or if you would like to have a quick training session. I can show you how quickly and easily you can get this up and running. Whatever it is, if it's Stratum related, feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you about whatever that issue might be. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, or let's look at the product. I've got the Power BI interface actually open. I've already got my report open as well, as we can see. I've got, again, the bar charts, combinational charts. I've got a heat map of the sales reps. This is basically a sales report, and it's showing me by month, a rolling 3 month scenario this year versus last by brand up here in the upper left hand corner. So I can see enterprise sales. So this is basically the entire enterprise. I might be playing the role of a director of sales or VP of sales. Okay. These are all my reps down there in the heat map, and I can see some of the reps with the smaller tiles or some of the smaller volume reps. And Patrick Hurley and Nicole here are forging, the top, forging the way on the top here in terms of bringing in some of the top year-to-date numbers. Here's a trend of the business. We can see there's an upwardly trend. So, and then it takes a dive there because fiscal period 11 is not, finished yet. So that's not closed. So overall, I can see the business is up. I can then highlight a different area, and the Power BI interface does a nice job of giving you tool tips. As you can see here, I can see all the different brands and what their numbers are based on the fiscal period that I click or I hover over. So again, Power BI does a great job of this, and it's just another reason why you might want to use something like this to have this type of interface. Um, Here I can click in on, for instance, Farm Fresh. I can see that, if I highlight a specific brand, these other charts, they talk to each other, right? So everything changes based on what I select. Another great feature of Power BI is this interaction, being able to select something and have the entire report, kind of reflect what you've selected. So, it does, I really like the way it does that. And and again, another reason why to use the product is such a, powerful and easy thing to put together. We could see this year versus last that business is up. So that's good. Overall, it's kind of looks up that way for brands. If we go down here to our reps, we can see the Patrick Hurley. If I highlight one of my top reps, again, I get the same interaction. I could see Patrick's numbers. He's bringing in some good numbers here. But if I want to see more further detail, maybe what products he's selling, I can see the brands. But it's only going to tell me so much, give me so much here in terms of the Power BI report. So here's my drill down button. So if I have Patrick Hurley highlighted, if I just click on the drill down button, it'll then drill me into the view and show me Patrick's numbers. So here I can see now that the view is filtered on Patrick Hurley. So this is indeed Patrick's numbers. And we can see that, year to date, he's up overall across the board, rather largely. So, Patrick's doing a great job growing his section of the business. In some areas, he's really done outlandish. So, again, this is a great opportunity. Maybe I want to see his customers or maybe the products that he's selling. So now I'm actually using Stratum to give me that data that is not present within the Power BI interface. Here I can see he's selling roughly around 70 some odd products. And if I sort this in descending fashion, I can see some of the top products that he's selling into. So again, I'm not going to get this information from the Power BI interface. I need an elegant way to drill to further detail so that I can get the detail behind the reps here. So going back to the report, if I select maybe Nicole, and I can play the same game here and go and look at Nicole's detail, we can see that, well, Nicole, her views, her side of the business tells a little bit of the story, where she's kind of down versus last year, so her numbers aren't looking as good as Patrick. So again, I can drill that to product, and I can see that again, products overall are down. There are some areas where she's growing, but seems like that Nicole here has some work to do in terms of getting that data or getting the sales back up to a growth factor. So again, I wouldn't really, I can't really see that here without being able to drill to that detail and getting a better feel for some of the detail behind some of these reps. Okay. If I ever wanted to maybe enhance the report or bring in for more data from Stratum, as you can see within the Power BI interface, you have the ability to go out and grab more data. There's different areas that you can delve into, of course. But if you want to use our connector, it would be stored in the other area uh, with some of the other custom, um, you know, uh, programs that you might have installed or add-ins that you might have installed as well. So if we select the Stratum add-in, we connect to it. We have to give it a URL so that it knows what to connect to. So I'll just copy that from the interface. And then that way I could just plug that in and make the connection. It then connects. It makes the connection, and as you can see, I've already connected, and these are all my views that are available to tap into. And again, if I want to search for Power BI reports that I've written specifically for Power BI, then I can just do a search for PBI, and then it will return all those views to me. Here I've selected Power BI comparative sales. The preview then is populated with some data so that I can kind of get a feel for some of the data that's within that view. And then I can just go ahead and load that into the interface and make that available. Once it becomes available, for instance, I can squish some of this over. Maybe I want to make some room for a pie chart, where I can very quickly get that, added in, and then I could start adding in data from that view that I brought in. So if I want to see like actual sales dollars year to date by division, I can very simply just drag and drop some of that stuff in and start creating some more visualizations based on any report, any view that I bring in. And what's great is that Power BI will make the connections. You can create relationships across the views. So as long as there's some commonality, some common dimensions, Power BI will notice that and create those relationships for you. So it really does a nice job of making things trying to make things easier for you to put together reports and whatnot. Um, and again, as I notice how I click in on the different areas, the new graphic just it becomes enabled so that I can see where essentially these reps are selling their business into. So again, Power BI does a pretty good job of making these visualizations pop. Now, once you're ready to publish the report up to the cloud, as you can see, there is a publish option here to upload the report to the Power BI cloud, and that allows you to share it, collaborate on it, make it available to the masses of users that are out there in your enterprise. So, again, being able to publish that up. The free version really doesn't have that, only because it's a free version, obviously. So you'll need to license that piece to be able to share and collaborate. And you can do all that. If you need any help with some of that, we can kind of point you to where to go for Microsoft or provide some options for you. So pretty simple to get that going and look into that. All right. If we look at the views that we're using for to grab the data, I've got, for instance, if we wanted to take a look at that Power BI view and how it was constructed. So I built this view specifically for a Power BI report. So the first thing you want to look at is, or kind of question is, ask yourself, what do I need within the Power BI reports? What levels do I want to make available? What measures do I want to have available? If it's a sales related view, obviously you're going to need some sales data in it and have that available. So here we can see that the view I'm using is certainly, it's got its levels available, and then I've got measures out there of data that are available too. If you notice my column headings for my measures are static in nature so that they don't change, so that it doesn't break the relationship with the Power BI connector. So that's one of the requirements is that, if you keep your column header static, it'll work better. And so that's one thing that we recommend. Another thing is, notice how I'm drilled all the way in. So I'm drilled all the way into all my levels within the view so that all the data will be passed to the Power BI connector. This view, as you can see, it's got roughly around almost 1,000 rows in it. So all of that data will get passed over to the Power BI connector um, at all levels. So that way I can do the necessary slicing and dicing, or, I have these levels available. These reporting levels will be available within my Power BI connector as well. Another thing is, I think if I show all the records here, it'll return all 955 rows. And if I go to the bottom, notice there are no grand totals. So the totals have been turned off. So that's another thing that you'd probably want to do is make sure that totals are turned off for all your levels within the view. You can go to your View Explorer, and each view has a properties setting that you can go into and check the total if the total is turned off or not. And as you can see, my total is turned off for that dimension. So for each one of your dimensions, again, you'll expand them out and look at that property menu to make sure that the totals are turned off, so that basically you end up with a nice clean, almost looks like a table, right? Or a flat file, right? It's essentially what you want to create for the Power BI interface. So again, make sure all the levels that you need are within the view. You want to make sure that you've got static column headers. And so that, because again, if anything changes, it's like a table. And we all know what happens when table names changes or table field names change. That could wreak havoc in the world of ERP and in business intelligence. Any database technology, you're going to have a problem with that. So, same concept here. You want to build the view, keep it static in terms of measure names and column header names. Now, if you want to add another level, you can absolutely do that. So if you left a level out that you wanted to make available here, you can add it to the uh, to the view and then do a refresh. Once you go back to the Power BI interface, then you can do a refresh and it'll bring that level in. Okay. So, for instance, if you forgot anything, just want to bring that in, you go to your levels. You can select the level that you want to bring in. I'm bringing in account type. You would have to then drill, maybe make sure that your totals are off, right? So there's no totals for that level, and then you'd have to drill to it, essentially, so that it becomes available as well in your product as well. I don't think I have any data for that level. Interestingly enough, let's try that again. There. Oh no, product line. Yeah, so I think that's a not a sales related level, unfortunately. Let me delete that. There we go. Let's try something else. We can try customer state, I suppose. All right, looks good. There we go. So now we have all the states available. That's another thing that we can slice and dice on within the interface as well. Now, once if I were to save this, let's try it. I'm going to go ahead and play around with it. So I save that away, right? And then I go back to my Power BI interface. I do a refresh because I've already, that view is already part of my Power BI report. So I don't have to re-import that in. It's already, as you can see, it's right there. So let's see if we get our new level. I did see something change there, and we are looking for the state level. Should be in here. And there it is. So if we wanted to, instead of seeing this graphic here, instead of division, maybe you want to see it by the state, right? Select state and, oops, didn't want to do that. Right, so state, this is what I believe our sales by state. Yep, year-to-date sales by state. So adding a level, not a problem. If you even want to add another measure, you can go ahead and do that too, because it'll bring in the new measure as well. Just remember to give it a static heading, and you'll stay clear of any issues. So, okay. So those are the things you want to think about when you're using the Power BI connector. What views do you want to use? What theme of reports are you going to put together? That'll kind of drive the view that you build for the interface. Again, remember to keep the views very simple in terms of no totals. You want it basically looking more tabular like, so that it looks like a table or a flat file to bring that data into the Power BI interface. And then from Power BI, have fun. I mean, some of it can be enjoyable, putting together the charts and visualizations that you can put together. So, have fun with that and make it pop. So I like the creative side of business sometimes, where you can kind of, delve into creativity.